the good thing about annulments now, it used to be very expensive. Until, well, I'm talking about church annulments. There are two kinds of annulment. No? Let's be clear about this.
Yeah.
We have separation of church and state. Okay, unlike England, same, no? The church and the state are one and the same. Why is this very important? It's very important because people think that if you get a church annulment, okay na yan sa legal annulment. No. What is important is the legal annulment. Ano yung legal annulment? Yung legal annulment, magpa-file ka sa court. And the court says your marriage is declared null and void under Article 36. No? That's the only way to dissolve a marriage in the country is a legal annulment. Why do people get church annulment? No? A church annulment, Sito, has no legal effect. Even if you go to a church and you get your church annulment, because in fact this latest Pope, Pope Francis, who's really an activist Pope, has said the church should make it easier for couples, especially if they're victims of abuse or an abusive relationship, to get a church annulment, and admonished all parishes to give free church annulments. So ang daming nagpapa-annul sa church na kasi libre na ngayon. Does that have legal effect? The answer is no. Walang legal effect ang church annulment. The reason couples get a church annulment is so that they can get married in church again if they want to get married. So advice ko lang, miskin na may church annulment, you have to get a legal annulment. Yung may legal annulment ba, kailangan ng church annulment? The answer is no. So it's the reverse. Sa legal separation, asawa mo pa, there still is a marriage. What it really means is you separation of bed and board, you're not required to consortium, no? Siyempre, pag may asawa, may consortium, may sex and all that. You're legally separated, wala nang ganyan. And then the property is also separated. Now, the reason it's called legal separation and not annulment is you remain married to each other. What happens lang is the obligation to live together as husband and wife is no longer there, and the properties are already divided, separated. What's yours is yours, what's mine is mine, for children are for the children. And in a legal separation, if you have a third party, let's say meron ka ng bagong mahal sa buhay, can you get married? The answer is no. And your spouse can even file a case against you for adultery or concubinage.
If you attempt a second marriage.
Even if you don't attempt, if you're living in sin, or you're in an adulterous relationship. Kasi may marriage pa sito, ang hiniwalay mo lang yung property at saka yung obligation to live together as husband and wife. But you remain as husband and wife. So that's legal separation. Pwede kang filean ng criminal case. Let's say nag-split na ng property, pero the marriage is still there. Okay. Paano kung namatay ka, mag-i-inherit pa ba?
Oh.
The answer is yes. Kasi you are still the surviving spouse. That's why, Sito, ang nangyayari, naririnig natin, hiwalay, matagal na silang hiwalay, 30 years, 20 years, ba't pa sila nag-file ng annulment when factually separated na sila or may legal separation na sila? Precisely because of inheritance rights.
Okay.
Whoever is the surviving spouse still inherits, miski na walang hiya yung asawa mo. Mag-i-inherit pa sa'yo. That's why kailangan sito ng prenuptial agreement as an insurance. So that, there is the marriage, you cannot be assured that the marriage will last forever. So especially mga wealthy families, let's say mga mostly inherited properties yan, they have a prenuptial agreement which says that my property is mine, your property is yours, share na lang tayo sa expenses.
Okay, now, what about the case of neglect? Kasi yun yung binabalikan lagi ng mga OFW na or even locally there are people who or individuals who tell me paano ba yan? I have my husband or my wife won't have sex with me anymore. They always talk about, not wanting to get pregnant or children or whatever. The husband doesn't perform his duty as a man, etc. And then yung sabi mo nga, yung parang para na lang akong tuod dito sa bahay natin. You don't even give me the love. Pinapakain, binabahay, pero para ka lang katulong sa bahay.
If the circumstances are such that it is grave, kasi for a church annulment, maraming requirement. I'm sorry, for a nullity of marriage, no, yung legal annulment, maraming requirements, no. Kasi ang daming nagpapanggap because it must be there's one requirement that it must be grievous. Yung in other words, minsan ka lang binugbog o ng asawa mo, ayaw ko na, hiwalayan na kita. No, that's not grievous. Mm-hmm. It must be repeated physical or domestic violence. No. Number 2, there must be irreconcilable differences. Ibig sabihin wala nang pag-asa sa report.
Irreconcilable differences, sabi ko, pangsini lang yan eh.
Oo nga. Kasi even if you file a case in court, Sito, the court will say, have earnest efforts at a compromise been made, no? Requirement of law yan. In fact, the other couple, the wife or the husband, who is the respondent, kasi merong mag-complain, merong petitioner or complainant, merong respondent, no? Pwedeng sabihin kung ayaw. Sometimes kasi nagpa-file ang mga lalaki kung may mistress sila ng annulment. Gumagawa ng storya na may infidelity yung asawa niya or bipolar, etc., etc. So as to make, and they make what they call they make a molehill a mountain. Kasi sa batas, not any cause of abuse or infidelity, it must be grievous and irreconcilable na ang differences, because even the court will say after you file, go to mediation. Now sometimes couples go through counseling, no? Because some people who come to me, some clients of mine who want to file annulment, I ask them, have you gone through counseling? Because sometimes when I listen to their story, they don't need the lawyer. They need a counselor to see if the differences are reconcilable.